Hello, everybody. Welcome to another session of Generally Speaking. I'm your host, Bill Lawrence. Today is Friday, October 3rd, and let's see what's in the news today. I'm noticing a lot of it is very similar to what's been in the news, but I guess it all progresses little by little as we go along. So let's follow the progression. The alligator Alcatraz in Florida, missing detainees, don't know where they went. What kind of a system these people keep? Not a good one. Don't keep track of anybody. and it's one thing if it's just administrative. Well, there's someplace and we'll know where they are, but nobody knows where they are. Even they don't know where they are, and who knows? Maybe they're dead. There's another story about ambulances leaving the facility, upwards of a dozen a day on some occasions, with no record of who's in the ambulances, where they're going, what's happened to the people in them. And we've already heard about many people dying in these facilities. Um, horrible thing. This whole administration doing horrible things with these detainment centers. Um, so that's next topic. Trump and his military. Hegseth had a meeting of all the generals and admirals, calling them together. And what was it? A pep talk, mostly about how we're going to get really rough now. No more kids' gloves. No more following rules of engagement. Just kill, slash, maim, destroy. That's what we should have. Blood dripping out of our mouths, right? Like vampires. And in fact, this is what he said. He says our focus is to kill people and break things. That's what Hegseth says. So this is becoming a very militarized administration, all big on the military, and they want the generals and the admirals to take lie detector tests so they can ask them, "Will you do whatever we tell you when we give you the command?" And if the person fails the test, they get fired. So we'll just have people in the military that are willing to just shoot up civilians in the streets, no questions asked. Um, a story about um, the the um, the right and how much they like to attack gays and trans people, and how much they're, of course, against the pedophiles. And this person, who's a gay person himself, is Mike Figueredo, does a great podcast, The Humanist Report. Since that would be a thing of interest to him, he did a little list of all the people that cry the loudest about these things and then themselves are found out to be gay or trans or exactly the opposite of what they rail so vehemently against. A Moms for Liberty co founder was found in a threesome sex scandal. The CPAC chairperson, Matt Schlapp, he was accused of groping multiple men. The anti gay Tennessee Lieutenant Governor McNally, he likes Instagram posts of a particular gay person. An anti gay pastor, Jesse Lee, he's been liking gay porn. Infowars, Alex Jones, he's been transvestigating what's that? He's investigating for trans issues, Michelle Obama, saying she's trans and doing that for years. And meanwhile, he himself is watching trans porn. Ethan Schmidt, an LGBT hunter, goes after them. He was found to be hunting himself for sex on Grinder. An anti-LGBT person, very popular, Steve Crowder. He had a bisexual phase in his past, which he says he's over now, but he's constantly afraid it might come back. And this anti-trans GOP candidate, Bill Berrien, he was following an online trans adult performer. And last, Benny Johnson, who's anti-gay, has gay cruise ads showing up on his web pages. And these ads are always tailored to the things that you look at, right? So just the hypocrisy that usually if there's anybody in the Republicans, because these are the ones that cry about it the most. If they are crying about it, they probably are themselves. All right. So China says they're not going to buy soybeans from the U.S. anymore. They're going to buy it from Argentina instead. So the American soy farmers are on the verge of collapse. They could use a bailout. Well, a bailout is coming, but is it for the farmers? No, it's for Argentina, where China is buying their soy from, because Trump likes the fellow that's the president in Argentina. He has similar likes and designs of being a right wing autocrat. So he wants to give him $20 billion, the person who's selling all the soybeans to China, and forget the American farmers. So they voted for Trump, right? And so this is what they get. And someone was making an interesting comment. These farmers, you can feel bad for them in one sense, but on the other hand, the ones you're hearing about are these mega farmers with 100,000 acres. They're multimillionaires themselves, and they're just complaining that now they don't have money to support their exploitation of the undocumented farm workers. There was an interesting point I hadn't thought about, how yes they are just capitalists themselves. All right, so Spain is banning any shipments to Israel through two of their main ports, Rota and Moron. And so there's some countries, resisting or doing something against the genocidal state of Israel. Missouri has now followed Texas in efforts to gerrymander and cut up the state so that they get almost guarantee more Republicans in office. Now, I say almost guarantee because they make these districts so heavily Republican that the Republicans are going to win. But Republicans are getting upset with what's going on in Congress these days. How much they're getting upset enough to vote for a Democrat, I don't know. Um, that some Democrats have been winning in offhand races that have been coming up. So it looks like there's a chance of that. And so we'll see how that goes. The government shutdown. The Democrats want the Affordable Care Act subsidies extended. Um, I watched one of the right wing commenters saying, the Obamacare was just too expensive, and now they're crying about it, and they want us to fix it, and they're kind of right on that. The Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, wasn't exactly all that affordable, and so a lot of subsidies came out, especially during the COVID time, and now that they're expiring, people are saying how much it's going to go up. You know how it's always amazing how you don't notice something till it's gone, right? So they the Affordable Care Act, it was going along, and people were just using it, and but then the subsidies came, and the Affordable Care Act is cheaper because of the subsidies, but now the subsidies are going away, and now they're acting like this is horrible. Meanwhile, it's just going back to how it was, but how it wasn't really good. So if our whole medical healthcare system isn't good, especially compared to all the other modern, upper end countries in this world. So that Democrats demand. They want the Affordable Care Act subsidies, and a lot of story being pitched by the Republicans is the Democrats want to give illegals a health care. So this isn't true. Is there anything to it? I mean, do they just completely lie? They do a lot of times just completely lie. But in this case, they're trying to refer to a section that in the document that the Democrats pushed that says they will restore uh, um, eligibility to aliens, but aliens who are here legally. Under a temporary the TPM, temporary protected something or other. But at any rate, that in any way, shape, or form are here legally. So the idea that anyone illegally is getting it just is not there. So the government, the Trump administration, is fighting against the blue states. They're going to withhold funding to New York. 18 billion is what they're talking about. More mafia stuff. This is an administration unlike anything that has ever happened to this country, unlike anything about it. Now, right, they love to talk about how the left is the ones of violence, promulgating violence, always saying violence, this, that, and the other thing. But here's a little sample of Jesse Waters, a very popular right wing person on the Fox show, right? He was talking about an incident at the UN when Trump was speaking before the UN. He was getting on an escalator, and the escalator stopped as soon as he got on it. And also during that time, the teleprompter failed while he was giving his speech. And turns out these were both the faults of the Trump people. The White House, someone was responsible that stopped the escalator, and the White House personnel were the ones responsible for maintaining, keeping the the teleprompters going. So no, it wasn't the UN. But at any rate, back to my point, Jesse Waters. First thing he says, this is clearly an insurrection. All right, there we go. We're ramping up the rhetoric. It's an insurrection that the escalator and the teleprompter failed. And what should we do about it? It says, well, we either need to leave the UN or we need to bomb it. All right, so no rhetoric there, no turning up the heat there, none of that whatsoever. All right, a young lady named Liz Oyer, she's a podcaster, and she likes to focus on the judiciary. She used to be in charge of pardons in the administration when she served. And she's talking about how two federal judges had cases come before them about appointments that Trump made to attorney general positions in two different states. And they said his appointments were illegal. Like, first of all, they're supposed to be approved by the Congress, and he just bypasses that. And so these two have said it's illegal. And of course, he's going to appeal it, and he's going to push it up to his buddies at the top of the heap, the Supreme Court, the SCOTUS, and that's just crapshoot whenever anything goes before them because they just love Trump. So no telling what he'll do. But he's just putting cronies in everywhere. And I've always agreed that whoever the president is, of course you want to have people on your side, but not blatant, complete sycophant. I'll do anything you say. There's no even semblance of independence, and that's what he's doing. Again, this administration is really bad, and the military in the streets is especially bad, and it's getting worse. And we've got um, Steve Miller, who seems to be the voice of the administration, talking about every left wing organization is a terrorist organization, and we need to take them down. We need to root them out. And no, he didn't say exactly those words. I'm paraphrasing, but they were very close. And definitely that he wants to um, uh, do everything in his power, use the Department of State to take out anybody who says anything against the administration. And in fact, if you're thinking anything that's not Christian, like you think you don't like Bibles in the schools, or you think atheism is good or is acceptable, or you are one, well, that's anti Christian. And of course, the Muslims disbelieving in Islam, they're anti Christian and they deserve to be investigated. And if you're gay, you're not supporting traditional American family values, so you need to be investigated. There's these investigatings and these troops in the streets and these loyalty um, uh, oaths that you have to swear to do whatever I tell you to do is terrible. And now some of the people he's got running around, the ICE agents especially, that he's poured hundreds of billions into, they're becoming thugs. They're just arresting people, pushing people down, shoving them slamming them onto the sidewalks and breaking their ribs. And it's becoming a more and more horrible thing. There's lots of r- references to how this was going on in Germany, and of course the similarities are there. I think there is a difference in one hand that Germany did happen, Nazis did happen, and everybody knows about it, and we see how this is going there. So there's a little bit of a forewarning and an awareness, and so hopefully there'll be this won't come to that point where journalists, where podcasters, where anyone who says anything against the administration isn't just arrested. And hope it doesn't get to that. But there we go. One last thing: the fleet, a flotilla that was going to Gaza with baby formula, they got seized. They got taken by the Israeli Navy. What else do you expect? And so there's been protests in the street in some places. Italy had a big protest, and what is a second flotilla took off from Turkey. And I'm thinking, okay, protests are good. It's nice to see people protesting, but it's the government that has to do something, and they're not doing anything. And the flotilla, a Turkish flotilla, fine. Well, why should what happens to them be any different from what happened to all the other flotillas? They'll just be taken, and all the people will just get deported again. So, at any rate, that's what's going on in the news today. And there are some good things. There's a lot of good baby videos and kitten videos that are a lot of fun. And I hope you look at some of those because it's good to get a laugh every now and then. So, there you go. Did you like, subscribe, and hit the notify button? I should have said that up front. Well, but anyway, things will probably trickle on a little bit in the next couple of days. We'll have some more updates, what's going on. You take care, and thank you for watching.